Disclaimer, I'm not a complete expert, but I have done the research and I do a lot of these crafts myself, and I do know what goes into them, and I watch actual crafting videos, not the crap from 5-minute crafts. Now, I seem a little bitter. I've uploaded this video now 5 times, and 5-minute crafts keeps blocking it. So I've made even more cuts, so hopefully this time you will see it. This is for 13 and over. The crafts I tell you how to do are dangerous for children, and even if they're not dangerous, they're messy and you would ruin your dolls. So just like this video, if you're under 13, you need a parent supervision. I am not your kid's babysitter. This is meant for adults to show you how 5-minute crafts is faking their videos. Yes, they are complete fakes. I'm going to take you through 6.5 crafts, and I'm going to show you how they fake the results in their videos. Hack number 1 is on every one of their compilations. It's dyeing the hair with food coloring. Well, when you dye the hair with food coloring and you rinse it out like you have to so it doesn't stain your doll, the dye comes completely out. And then when it's dry, it's magically darker than what they showed. Why? Because they didn't use the same dye. It was a different dye. They would have rinsed it out and then used the actual dye, which would be a synthetic dye like this, because it's the only reliable way to dye your doll's hair. However, you have to rinse this out or it will stain your doll. And they do not tell you how to rinse it out in that video. Hack number 2, they faked for no reason at all. I have no idea. I suspect because they wanted to use brightly colored paper clips to turn into doll hangers. That doesn't work. It's actually the metal ones that work, which I didn't show you is they cut it off. You shouldn't be cutting off any of the smaller stuff. You should be using a wire tool for jewelry to roll it into the correct size and to get the spacing right. They didn't do that. You can see how they spaced it to make it wider, but they still had to glue it to get it to work because these type of paper clips don't actually work. They're not the correct size. In hack number 3, which is the first hack that they claimed, and then they claimed more, they claim you can dye your doll's hair the same way you would dye human hair, and I believe they were using human dye, but of course, it's not true. They didn't even cover the ends with color. And when I dye my doll's hair, some of it washes out. When they do it, nothing washes out. They actually just switched the doll for a doll that already had purple hair. Hack number 4 is filming your hack in reverse to fake the result, because that's what they did. I believe they even broke the doll they were using while filming it and still published it as results. See this doll with the broken neck? They're gonna claim that this doll right here that does not even come in that hair length unless you've straightened the curly hair, that you can take tinfoil, curl it, and then wait 15 minutes and take it out, and that magically you have curly hair. What they did is take the doll that already had curly hair, pretended to curl it, and then they straightened it, and while they were doing that, they broke the doll, but still tried to claim that as a hack. The only way to do this is actually boiling water, so it's not really safe for children. And usually people make their own curlers or they use pipe cleaners. After dunking the doll in the boiling water, then you still have to wait a good 24 hours for it to dry. It has to dry at least overnight, or you have to blow dry it. So 15 minutes for curly hair isn't going to happen. Now, hack number 5 is a hack off, because they literally just take the doll and just whack off all her hair and claim that's a hack. Now, cheaper imitation dolls like this, though they're cute, don't have really rooted hair. It's only rooted around the doll's crown. So when you hack off their hair, they just have a bald spot. That's why they just cut to another scene and pretended that was their hack. So months later, they took the doll, glued down her hair, because that was the only way to keep her hair flush to her head, and then they just turned her into a ring, because they destroyed her so much by hacking off her hair that the only thing they could do was not use her as a doll ever again. 7, which is really 6.5 because of the doll head ring. I know that they're not doing this correctly because I've done it badly myself. Here it is, I'm doing it. I'm actually doing it the correct way they said at the time, but the correct way was wrong. You do have to color the top and the bottom. You have to color the back of every strand. I actually do that. That's not the mistake I did. Now, I should have covered her face with tape, but I also should have covered her neck with tape, because the fabric markers I was using were extremely messy, and I did clean up so much of the dye while I was doing it. I was wiping it down each time, and then and the belief at the time was that if you heated it, it would set it, which I did with a straight iron, and no dye actually got onto the straight iron. But that's not the result I get. I got a stained doll on the back of her neck. Now, what you're actually supposed to do now after this, and it does work with a Sharpie too, you're supposed to rinse it with hot water if you're just doing like the top of the head. But if you're doing the whole doll like this, you have to also put it in a solution of water and vinegar, and then rinse that out with soap and water. And then it shouldn't get the staining that it does. If it does get staining, you use Oxy, and then you either put it in a bag under the sunlight, or you use an UV light and put it under that for a few minutes, and then the stain should lift up. Do not use this method on darker dolls. You will get light patches. But, however, if you're doing this with the OxyClean and you're putting it outside, make sure to keep it away from animals, keep it away from children. Oxy is a dangerous chemical. It's one of the reasons my videos are for 13 and up, because I do use dangerous things for my crafting. Things like Super Mr. Clear, that if you use it incorrectly, will make you Super Mr. Dead of like lung cancer. It's a very dangerous product, but that is the end of all the crafts. Yes, they are faking the results all the time, even on crafts that would actually work. They're not giving you the information that you need, and they're lying about what they're actually doing. Like with the dyeing the doll with food coloring, people were complaining when I did it, oh, you didn't leave it in for long enough. It doesn't matter how long you leave it in for, it's going to rinse out. you need to use synthetic dye like dyemore. You can also dye the doll's skin with that, so you do have to be very careful unless you want a blue doll as others have wanted before you. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribing would be awesome for me. I really could use the subscribers because this video was awful to make because they kept blocking me. Thank you so much.
Subscribe if you like watching adorable bunnies who don't actually say anything in the movie at all. And beautiful shoulder devils.
How do you know I'm not evil too? Oh, the shoulder angel. I better go.
Do what's right! And subscribe, because that's right.
Apparently not.
Do you have a situation?
Yeah.
Do what is right.